Hey guys, this is Ethan from Zimmer Labs, and tonight's video is on a Graflex done in the Empire Strikes Back / The Force Awakens style that I just finished up for Jason. Jason, let me know after you've had a chance to watch the video what you think, and everybody else just enjoy, and as always, thank you for watching. We start with a Roman Props Graflex replica set up in the Empire Strikes Back style with the red button, Graflex clamp facing to the right with the traditional ESB clamp card and grips with the rivets, as well as the cobalt ring on the bottom in Empire Strikes Back style, with the glass eye being the Force Awakens twist to it, because Empire Strikes Back style would have another red button on the bottom. But otherwise, this is more, I would say, more Empire Strikes Back than The Force Awakens. Within the glass eye, if you guys can catch that, there's some additional metal geometrical elements to it behind it, which really pop when it is illuminated, so check that out later. But at any rate, the red button is your activation, and then the slide switch here is your auxiliary button. And as you guys probably are well aware, the Roman Props Graflex replica is really a beautiful piece. It's very true to form, to the original actual Graflex in its design. Everything about it is just spot on, so there's no differences or oddities. If you guys look inside, you'll notice that the interior finish on this guy is a bit shiny and bronze. That's because I obviously got in there and cleaned it out. The point of doing that is simple. Basically, it's because when you install the chassis into the hilt, you want it to go in smoothly and not scratch things up and not get caught, not have fitment issues. And the easiest way to do that is to clean up the inside here. You know, the edges, these little tiny clips that stick out that catch onto the other section of the hilt here. These, you can kind of sand them down a bit and smooth out the edges so they're not so sharp, they're not so long, which allows you, everything, as you can see, still works really well, nice and tight. The function is still there, but the interior is not rough, it's not pitted, it's not sharp, so that when you insert your chassis, which, as you guys can see, is a really highly polished metal, stainless steel, brass, etc. Unit, and you don't want this to get all scratched up and damaged just simply because you slid it in and out of the hilt a couple times. And that is exactly what will happen if you don't take the time to clean up the inside of the hilt. So that's just a quick insider tip. Quick pro tip for you guys, nothing super special there, but just, you know, if you guys are building something like this, take half an hour and do some work on the inside of the hilt, just cleaning it up, smoothing some of the sharper edges, etc. And you will be very glad you did down the road. This is the real main meat of the lightsaber. This is your completely removable chassis. Starting at the top, this is the new Solo's Hold Graflex blade holder. I don't know if it's the V3 or the Pro or the Premium, but it's the newest iteration with some Goth 3 Designs additional elements added. So anything that you see that's stainless steel up in this top section is Shapeways printed Goth 3 Designs additional add-on part to add on to this blade holder. And some of you guys are probably saying, why does that blade holder not have the top half? That doesn't look like a blade holder. It's because the top half stays, as you can see, in the hilt. So this black section here is the top half of the blade holder. And that is permanently mounted and installed right up into the hilt here, so that when you slide this part out, you don't have to worry about the pins or anything else. That guy is just going to stay up in there and not be something you have to be concerned with if you are removing the chassis. Up here, this little gold / brass round greeble in the middle here is actually your power button, your activation button, which gets pressed by the red plunger. When you press the red button down, that pushes that little tiny metal button there. And then the auxiliary switch activates this side actuated momentary tactile switch on the side here. As we go around, these are some of the additional Shapeways Goth 3 Designs elements. These guys here, these little bits here, these are screw covers. They're little set screws that go in here, here, and here to mount the blade holder assembly. Not the blade holder, the blade connector assembly, I mean. So that's slides in and plugs in, and then the 3 screws go in to lock it in place. As you can tell, that is a stock Custom Works pogo pin Neopixel connector with onboard pixels. It is in Dimitri's blade connector housing adapter, also a Shapeways part with the frosted, the clear frosted plexi or acrylic insert, and the point of that is it protects the pogo pins that stick up from being mashed down any further than they need to be to make the connection so they don't get damaged, but it also diffuses the Neopixels that are behind it so that you get a more just consistent light shooting out of here rather than seeing the individual pixels quite so much. This is your blade plug. You don't have to, because this is an illuminated connector. You can just use a hollow empty blade plug if you like, but it's not quite as bright as I would like it to be because the pixels are shooting straight out, and that means that they're shooting into the back of the metal section here. If they were shooting off sideways, it would be great and the illumination would be solid, but it's not, so I added an additional mini blade inside of this, and that's the connector obviously right there, so there's more pixels loaded in here. And that guy just sits in there like that. When you turn it on, this whole section here is illuminated. This is the bottom of the blade holder, which lines up with the glass eye, so you get massive shine through obviously coming through here, so the glass eye is going to be really brightly illuminated as well. Moving down, we get to the plasma gate section. And that is a clear acrylic tube with some brass geometric inserts as well, and then some plasma, which is accomplished by the old cellophane trick with Neopixels embedded inside here to illuminate it from both sides, which you guys will see when I fire it up, so you can see what the plasma is doing. Inside here there's stainless steel and polished aluminum elements along with the brass. And then further down we get to the radiator section and the crystal chamber. And these are all individual polished and laser cut brass and aluminum fins. And those are bare, of course. And a really nice, just about 1 inch quartz crystal with 1 point, also dual illuminated from both sides. Then coming down to the bottom, we have the guts of the electronics behind this cover. You have the Proffieboard as well as the recharge port, which is here, and the main power switch, which we'll go ahead and fire it up. As you can tell, it's on now, obviously, because it's lit up, and you also get the audio cue to tell you that it's fired up. Behind the 6 windows here are some LEDs, except looks like this guy is slightly out of whack behind this one, so I'll have to address that. But that's not something for right now. And they are doing a nice slow pulsing, and then down here you'll note that there is an additional blinking blue LED. That is the Bluetooth notification system right there. This guy is running the absolute newest state-of-the-art Bluetooth 5.0 chip from Feasy. It's a really, really nice Bluetooth chip. It is incredibly small, has 2 onboard LED notifications, one for power, one for connection issues. So depending on what this LED is doing, you can diagnose and see what your Bluetooth is doing, whether it's connected, transmitting, receiving, etc., etc. Further on down, you'll note we've got a illuminated insert that's pulsing white, and that goes all the way around the whole bottom here. There's sections of it. That is your battery power indicator. So based on what color this is, it's telling you what your battery is charged to. When it's bright white, that is a 100% full battery. When it goes down to blue, that is a mostly full battery, probably 80 to 90%. When it gets under blue, it will go to yellow, then orange, then red. So when you're in the orange section, you better start thinking about getting a charge. When you're in the red section, you really better start thinking about getting a charge because it's just about dead. When you're in yellow, you've got some time left still, but the point is the illuminated inserts down here are functioning and giving you some information about the lightsaber. There are additional bronze geometric inserts, cosmetic decorative panels going on behind everything down here, if you can see inside. Spinning around to the back end, got Neopixel inserts, accents behind both of these large windows, and they are doing a color cycle. Actually, no, I'm lied, that's a Cylon. So they're doing an accent Cylon, which is basically just like Knight Rider. It's back and forth, which basically just runs on a slow white Cylon until you turn the saber on, and then it cranks up, speeds up, and goes to whatever color the blade is. And then you get down to the very bottom, got more decorative inserts and a nice premium KR 3-watt 4-ohm premium bass speaker, which is nice and loud, nice and clean, and just a really nice finish on this saber. Every angle for this chassis, this setup, is thoroughly well thought out and just really well finished. Just, you know, to look at it, there's nothing about this guy that isn't polished and sophisticated. So hats off to Martin Bear for his design. Really a lot of time and effort and thought obviously has gone into it to just really nail every little part. But this is absolutely the cream of the crop premium chassis if you're going to do a Graflex. There's really not much that's nicer than this, except for maybe some really 100% handmade, custom, one-off, totally unique pieces that exist. Probably Martin made some of them, or some of the other real big dogs like Yoda or Roland. But this guy, as far as something that you can get printed and do yourself at home, this is as nice as it gets. And really the design is gorgeous. I especially like this panel myself. I love the elliptical cutouts. The finish and the depth that you get with them, with the different layers and textures, is just gorgeous. Behind this section, behind this panel, is the battery, the power plant, if you will, and the power plant in this guy is an 18650 Panasonic high drain lithium battery. It's a 3500 milliamp hour, so this saber will run for a long time. It's going to give you a full day if you're using it intermittently. If you're using the saber straight out on all the time, you're going to get a couple hours. But no one really does that. This panel also comes out, just pops right off, but to do that you have to pull these 2 steel pins that you see running down here. To pull those pins you have to unscrew this section, and there are these 3 acorn bolts at the very top. So if you take those off and then this part separates, then you can slide those pins out and take this cover off to access the battery. But you really don't have any need to access that battery unless you're replacing it or something like that, because you recharge ports right here, so there's really no major need to even get in there. But let's fire it up so you guys can see how she looks. This guy really comes to life. There's a lot of light going on. All these window LEDs cranked up the brightness. Show you guys the difference. They get much brighter, probably 4 or 5 times brighter. Bluetooth is still ticking away down here because it's not connected yet. On the other side, Cylon, like I said, sped up and changed to match the blade. Now it's running at blue. Crystal chamber, crystal is nice and illuminated. And your plasma gate is as well, with a nice hunk of liquid plasma going molten inside there, as you guys can see. It's a good angle for it, really shows it off. The blade, plasma gate, and crystal chamber are all tied to the same code configuration, which means that everything reacts the same way. Jump to the next blade for you guys. Actually, we'll jump 3 up. You'll notice now everything's green. We're rocking the Return of the Jedi color. And you can see from this angle just how bright that blade plug is going to be once you've slid the chassis into the hilt. Ton of shine coming straight up, and then of course a ton coming through the glass eye. I mean, that's bright. We've got a nice purple color here, a la Mace Windu. And of course everything is smoothswing sound font. Very, very, very realistic. This is the fire blade a la Kylo Ren. The fire Cylon area down here. Plasma gate and crystal chamber cranking out the fire effect, as well as up top. And this is kind of fun too. If you actually look in there, because you've got 5 separate pixels going on in there, it's actually going around from 1 through 5, so the colors aren't all the same on each pixel at the same time, so it looks more like fire. It's a really thorough effect. Just a lot going on right there. I counted out this morning when I had just finishing everything off, and I want to say there are 32 LEDs, accent LEDs built into this guy, and that's counting the Neopixels as just 1, even though there are really 4 in each. 32 separate LEDs just for decoration and accenting, not including what's in your blade. It's 270 or so in the blade, but 32 LEDs hanging out, hidden inside this guy. That's just, it's a lot. It really is, and it shows when you turn it on. I'll show you guys real quick what the strobe blade looks like. This is a really good way to kind of see and appreciate all the different LEDs going on in the sky. This is just really nuts. Let me kill the lights real quick so you get a better look. If that's not a well-illuminated chassis, I don't know what is. That's excellent. Gotta love that. So much going on in there. You could take this out on your evening stroll while you're walking the dog, and you wouldn't need a flashlight. Alright, now let me quickly put it back. Put it back into the hilt for you guys real quick so you can see how that's done and see what it looks like when it's running as a lightsaber, not just as the internals. Release the Graflex clamp here, slide the bottom end off, and actually, you know what? It's easier to do it if you slide it off from this side so the clamp stays on the bottom instead of on the top. Now, all you have to do, it's one step, simple. You just unscrew this glass eye. This is what actually locks the hilt, or the chassis, into the hilt. This is the only thing you need to worry about. And unscrew that guy, and then you just line up the holes for the glass eye, so you know you're lined up right. And you'll notice how easy that's sliding in. That's because, like I said, I did some work to clean out the inside, and that's pretty important. So you want it to slide in and out easily, so you're not scratching everything up, and so you're not pulling on things and forcing things. You want it to just slide in there really nicely. Now, glass eye screws back on. Simple as that. Totally locked in place. Nice and solid. And that's that. That's really all there is to it. Now this section here, the bottom half of the hilt slides up. Just line up the clip sections. Clamp her down, and voila, lightsaber's rocking. Let's turn it on. Nice shine through on the glass eye. Got your auxiliary switch here, and that slides to activate. Nice and easy. Red button power. Nice action on both buttons. I hope you guys can see the metal mesh behind here, because it really does look nice. Especially the way the glass magnifies it. There's your fire blade again. Love that. So if you want to expose your crystal chamber, you can display it like this on a display stand if you like, but it's as simple as that to show off the crystal chamber. Let's real quickly pull out the blade plug. I'll use some small pliers here. Oh, I haven't actually finished the blade plug. It needs to be glued together, so don't worry. That is not your finished product, and don't do that at home. That's not how it's supposed to be built. Insert your blade straight in, like so. Shoot blade connector right on the end. Doesn't matter the orientation, it's 360 degrees. It's a nice tight fit too, which is great because that means you don't have to worry about it wiggling, coming out. There's also going to be a set screw here where the flathead screw is, but the blade sits so snugly in there, it doesn't actually need to have one. As you can see, it's not going anywhere. Your battery indicator blade, and now this is the first blade in the blade array. Nice bright blue with a white flash ignition. Blaster block, blade lockup, blade drag effect, clash, nice and accurate. Blade 2 is cyan. Blaster blocks. Is deep sky blue, just more of a prequel blue, I would say. Next up, I think we've got magenta. Yep, purple blade. Nice bright green. I love the look of the blaster block on the red blade. Look in the reflection of the monitor. The way the cool white just kind of diffuses out the red is awesome.